Hey, good Monday morning, everyone. It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. Well, not really, not here. It is so cloudy and rainy today. I don't know if you heard the thunder this morning, about 3 o'clock, 3:30. Thunder and lightning, rain. I think we're going to have rain today. It's about a week and a half away from Christmas. What is it? 9 days? 9 days away. And so if you're going to do Christmas shopping, just kind of wait just a minute. Wait till this afternoon. It's supposed to kind of clear off a little bit. Sun's supposed to shine. So if those of you who do Christmas shopping in the stores, wait till this afternoon and get out and watch it, or get out and start your shopping then. However, hold on just a minute. Before you do all that, before you get going on this Monday morning, dreary Monday morning, just take a few moments, have a seat. Let's have a cup of coffee together. Let's talk a little bit. My name is Weshenson. I'm the interim pastor at the First Baptist Church of Cutler. And this, my friends, is Coffee with Wes. Oh, yes. Makes Mondays palatable. Good cup of coffee. Okay, we're going to get started on our devotion for today. And the title of it is Let's Rethink Love. Rethink Love. Let's think about that, or rethink about that. You know, I don't know when it was, like in the 80s and 90s, maybe a little bit later, maybe a little bit early, and even today, we've seen those signs at the sporting events, the football games or baseball games or hockey games. Someone is at the football game, they're in the end zone, they hold up the placard that says John 3:16, right? You've seen that. And, we know that verse. Almost everybody that I know, whether they are followers of Jesus or not followers of Jesus, they are at least familiar with that verse, John chapter 3, verse 16. And it's an encounter that Jesus has with Nicodemus, and he explains it, the whole gospel, in that one verse. And so sometimes I think we become so familiar with verses, and we become so familiar with that verse that it really has lost its impact, because it's a very powerful verse, very powerful verse. So today, let's take just a few moments and let's think about the sweeping scope of that promise. John 3:16, it promises an extravagant, over the top, overwhelming demonstration of God's love, which the result of is the salvation of all who believe, of whoever it is. Doesn't matter your background, doesn't matter your culture, doesn't matter where you live, doesn't matter what sex you are, doesn't matter. Whoever believes this will result in salvation. I mean, what a powerful message. And that's a lot of love. So let's rethink John 3:16 for just a moment. And I'm going to read the verse in just a little bit, but you already know it. In fact, what I know you're doing is you're saying it in your mind just as I'm talking about it. But I want you to consider, as I read this verse, I want you to consider the difference between eternal death and eternal life. I mean, eternal life is like living eternally, right? It's like living forever and ever and ever and ever. And then ever and ever and ever. And then eternal death is kind of like dying 1,000 deaths. It is always being in that situation of death and dying. And eternal death is, as the Bible describes it best, it's eternal separation from God, eternal separation from the Lord. So I want you to think about that. Consider the difference between eternal death and eternal life. And then I also, secondly and finally, consider the high price that God paid for us. There's no greater love than the fulfillment of this promise that Jesus makes, that God has made to us through Jesus Christ. It's a promise that God suffered extensively to keep. It wasn't just Jesus' death on the cross was not an easy death. It wasn't just like going to sleep and not waking up. It wasn't just like having a chronic disease or anything like that, but it was actual physical torture, shamefully given. And but that death of Jesus on the cross demonstrates to us the great love that God has for you and for me. And here's what we need to hear. And for those around us in our world, in our circle, the people that we wonder about, the people that we find hard to love. God's love is just as much for them as well. Okay, today's verse, John 3:16. And I'm going to read it from the King James Version because that's how I memorized it. That's what comes to mind. John 3:16. For God so loved the world so much, that he gave his only begotten Son, one and only, one like him, unique. His only begotten Son, that whosoever, and whosoever surely meaneth me, whosoever is whoever will, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish, have eternal death, but have everlasting life. And to believe in Jesus is more than just an intellectual assent that, hey, I believe in Jesus. Like, I believe that he is, that he lived and died, and he may even have resurrected from the dead. It's more than that. To believe in Jesus is to believe in what Jesus did on the cross. And what Jesus did on the cross was to take away your sin. Took away my sin, took away your sin. He took away the sin of all people who will believe in him. John 3:16, for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. So rethink the promise that God made because of his love. He loved the world so much, that God was willing to die for us. And folks, that's true love. Happy Monday. Get out there, get that Christmas shopping done. Do it this afternoon, or if you're like me, go on the web, go to the Amazon or the Walmart. I found Walmart's doing pretty good as well, or wherever you want to go. Make those purchases. And if you're ordering online, they just bring them to your house. It's kind of like Christmas twice over. Not only do you get to give the gift on Christmas, but you receive all of these gifts, just like Christmas. Y'all have a great day. Happy Monday. Get out there, get going, and we'll get it done. Bye for now.